Alright, so what I wanted to do today is give a little tour of the market intelligence in a box that I've put together for the data report. And so those are the layers that we'll look at. But let's just get started directly, like from the right side all the way backwards. But like directly in Claude. So this is my development environment. So let's go into Claude, and I have a plugin that already has like a few commands in it. One of them is a report. So for the data report, I'll just pass that command with the time frame. And so the first thing that I will check is that if it has access to the server that I've put together. And it goes through like a SSH tunnel to do that because I didn't want to expose anything on the web. So as you can see here, there is a MCP server that is being used to query the underlying data. And we'll go into more details about that. And then, so it's just grabbing all of that data. It's gonna do like some analysis of it, and it's gonna report back, obviously, with a summary of the day's stories. Okay, so going back to this thing here, so this is kind of that layer here, right? So we have Claude Code, which is assembling a report, which will put that together. It goes through an MCP server, and then we have Cube here. Now, Cube is hosted as well, like on the same box. So everything is hosted on the same box. So everything is on that VPS server. And so if I've already opened the SSH tunnel to it, so that means that in here, like I can see my my server instance of Cube, and so it works as with any other Cube instances. So for example, like if I do the same thing as I'm doing right now, so filter by date range, maybe like yesterday. And then let's go with a story title or story summary or whatever. Let's run that. Okay, let's close the charts. Okay, and it pulled the data directly from my BigQuery data warehouse. Okay, so this is still working like at the moment. Like it's just pulling all of the data, creating some summaries of the data, then scanning them to pick up some trends, and this is at the end it will output like the final report. But in the meantime, let's go back to this thing here. Okay, so we have Cube, so this is the API that we're exposing, and again, as I mentioned, like this is all, like it's the interface to the data warehouse that is on BigQuery. Now, nothing really special happening here, like I'm just using DBT to do the data transformations of all of my source data inside of BigQuery. But the thing that is kind of missing from the diagram is that everything is being orchestrated through Dagster, which is also an instance that currently lives inside my VPS. A virtual private server. So if I look at this, then you can see that, well, let's have a look first at the lineage. Let's close a few things. So nothing really exciting that is happening. Essentially, like at the moment, I have like one source of data, which is the Hacker News RSS feed. And then I'm scraping the content of the stories, of the incoming stories, enriching it, and then afterwards with DBT, everything is being transformed here. All right, so let's see how that is going. Yeah, sure, great. Okay, so this is what is happening in here in DBT. Now that is the enrichment layer. that I was talking about in Dagster. So this is kind of what's happening here. So in the enrichment layer, essentially what I'm doing is that like I'm just doing some summarization of the articles and some classification of the articles. So just based on the content, it adds like a few other fields to it, which are then exposed through Cube, and it's really helpful for the LLM to pick those up and do some further analysis on top of that data. But like the way that I'm running that is I'm using the PydanticAI library to interact with a GPT model, and you know, like it's really fast, efficient, cheap, so that works real well. And again, everything is running within that server, but obviously like it does ping like the model that is hosted by OpenAI. All right, okay, so going back here, actually let's go back here. Okay, so this is working. What is it doing at the moment? Like it's writing out some notes as to what the stories we have. Okay, so prior to that, we have the article extraction. So I'm using, like usually I would be using Beautiful Soup, but like I found out like that library, which I cannot pronounce at all, Trafilatura, whatever. And like the benefit of that one is that like it doesn't pull like all of the HTML, like it only concentrate on the content, which is really what I care about. So I don't have to like do any kind of processing of the data afterwards. So it's pulling the content. This is what I'm saving in BigQuery, and you know, like I'm done afterwards. Sources. This is where I do the ingestion with DLT. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so DLT, if you're not familiar, this is another library that you can use to do some ingestion of sources, and it integrates super well with Dagster as well. And you know, like you can configure like all kinds of pipelines. And what's really interesting is like, oh, I'm gonna mess that up. Like with the new Dagster concept of what are they? But essentially, like they're factories, components, Dagster components. So they're factories, and you can configure instances of the components just with a YAML file. So that's what I'm doing here. So I have like a component which is an RSS feed, and then I have an instance that is configured through my YAML file, which is for Hacker News. But the goal is really to make it really dynamic, so that like as I scale this, like I only need to add like some configurations to that YAML file, and automatically like it will create like a new asset in Dagster. And then so that's kind of the goal here. So DLT, really nice library, really useful. And let's see where we're at. Team candidates. So like it's just picking up on the candidates now, and you can look at what is being produced here. This is so now it's writing the final report. But if I look at that, so those are all of the stories that it picked up from the API. And then you can see some patterns that it started to figure out. The notes, team candidates, and the final report that we'll build is really based upon all of that. But while it writes that, let's just go back here. So yeah, I mean, that covers it. Again, like everything is orchestrated through Dagster. Everything is hosted like on a single VPS, and it's cheap. The only really expenses that I have is the VPS. Obviously, I think it's like $150 US per year or something like that. And then there is the OpenAI model invocations, the token usage. What else is in there? Like I think that's pretty much it. Like those are the only costs that I have. Everything else is based on open source libraries, And, like that. Yep, that's it. So let's have a look at this thing here. Okay, so we have the report. Let's open that. Okay, what you don't control will hurt you. So nice intro, all of the themes around like some of the stories that it picked up in the past 24 hours, and conclusion and everything. And actually, like I'm just like taking the habit of reading that every morning, and it's been really useful. So instead of like reading a bunch of emails, bunch of RSS feeds, bunch of whatever else, then I can just use that report and feel like I'm still somewhat on top of things. All right, that's it. Thanks. Bye.